pitcher's row of the 1920s. And Curtis Granderson has just hit one out. It is now 6-0 in the bottom of the seventh inning. Kenny Rogers, ladies and gentlemen, yes, you heard right. Kenny Rogers with 7 shutout innings of the Yankees. 6 outs away from being down 2-1 with Jared Wright going tomorrow. All momentum, if you believe in such a thing, has been shifting and about to shift officially with 6 more Yankee outs to the Detroit Tigers, if you can believe that. Back to you after this.
It's our best Columbus Day ever. The famous Joseph A. Bank $199 sale. A huge selection of executive suits, $199. Every trio suit, $199. Even all Business Express suit separates, $199. Consider all lambskin leather bomber jackets, regularly $550, now $199. How about a huge selection of executive sport coats and all executive blazers, $199. All signature dress pants, 2 for $199. Plus, all classic pinpoint dress shirts, 3 for $99. The famous Joseph A. Bank $199 sale. Suits, sport coats, blazers, tuxedos, even lambskin leather jackets, only $199.
24 tri-state locations, including Edgewater, Paramus, Summit, Westfield, Comac, Woodbury, Stanford, Manhattan, Hoboken, and now open in Queens.
It seemed like an ordinary Giants game at the stadium. Then all of a sudden, this so-called Giant fan shows up, gets out a lawn chair, sits down, and starts eating an olive loaf and head cheese with mayo on white bread. It was a horrific display of tailgating. The next thing you know, the cops show up, and there's a chalk line where this olive loaf, head cheese-eating so-called Giant fan turned into bling wad. He was embarrassed to be there with just a lawn chair and the world's worst sandwich wrapped in foil. Holy flirkin' schnit. Do we really need this before a big game? The WFAN Tailgate Patrol is putting a stop to this type of nutty fudgikins to make sure that if you're going to eat disgusting things, might as well look good doing it. Each week, the Fan Tailgate Patrol will be handing out fan freebies for people who really need help, like that freak of nature, and awarding prizes to those who have the best-looking tailgates. It's all from Jeep, only in a Jeep. Verizon Wireless, the official wireless provider of the New York Giants. Thumann's, nothing brings people together like a Thumann's. Thumann's Deli Best since 1949, and the home of Giants football. The Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Without pinching yourself and the whole thing. But it is now 6-0 Tigers, and they are 6 outs away from putting the Yankee season. Oh, Bob, sit down. What? No, because it's 10:39. I got like a minute here. What? Bob is giving me the. Oh, I know what it is. It just came to me why he's a little bit giving me with the look, because I was giving the score. And that is something you want to do. I thought you were going to lead with the Devils.
I'm going to get a scoreboard.
What happened?
I was going out to get a scoreboard.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, but I can do without it.
But I can tell you all about the Devils, because I know you were going to lead with that.
Scores.
What happened?
The rest of the scores.
Okay, Bob is. I know you're upset here with the Yankees.
I'm very upset.
Yes, and he's been kind of like what? But here's the thing already, all right? 1-718-937-6666 is the number to call. And we'll get right back to everything else that we've got going on, which is essentially nothing. But we'll do the 2020 now with Bob Heussler.
WFAN 2020 Sport.
Steve, Kenny Rogers was a Yankee killer when he pitched for them, and he is a Yankee killer tonight pitching against them. A stunning development tonight in this series. Detroit is trouncing the Yankees. It's in the bottom of the seventh, and Detroit leading the Yankees 6-0. Rogers, through his 7 innings of work, is...
Another Game 3 meltdown for the second consecutive October, from the Angels last year. And the lightning rod, 5 2, not the lightning rod, but the single digit, 5 2/3 innings, 92 pitches, 8 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks and 4 Ks, 5 runs that have made a huge difference in this game, which is, of course, 6-0. All right, 1-718-937-6666 is the number to call, and we'll take a quick break and then get right back to your telephone calls after this.
Geico would like to apologize for...
Into the right hand of Jared Wright tomorrow in Detroit. You got Leland taking out Kenny Rogers, who was... just unbelievable. I don't know what other word. We always use the word unbelievable, but I'm going to tell you this. He was unbelievable. Kenny Rogers looking like a Hall of Fame left-hander. Think of any and all left-handers in your lifetime that you respect and got the job done. Now think of Kenny Rogers. Anyway, with a man on and 2 outs, Rogers leaves, and in comes Joel Zumaya. And Zumaya, you got to see him firsthand yesterday, and what you saw, if you're a Yankee fan, you didn't like at all. 103 miles per hour. He faced 5 batters yesterday at the stadium. He struck out 3. So who's the first guy he's facing? Mr. October. Because it could be before too very long, the lightning rod might be back in Central Park on the rocks, telling everybody, I'm good looking, I'm biracial, I'm rich, and I'm a Yankee, which is also a pretty good way of describing, accurately so, Derek Jeter. And Zumaya got the lightning rod to fly out weakly, a soft fly ball to right field to end the top of the 8th inning. So we're going to the bottom of the 8th inning, 6-0 Tigers. A story, but maybe not as big a story. Of course, obviously 6-0 is the Tigers, with the Tigers leading is obviously storyline number 1, but 1A is Kenny Rogers. 7 2/3 innings and only 5 hits allowed, 2 walks, and 7-8 strikeouts and less than 113 pitches, I think it was. And now we can start figuring out, even before, and anything can happen, and usually does. We expect with the unexpected. That's always the way it is with the SPRTS. But the bottom line is this. If you're a Yankee fan, let's start thinking, and we can be talking about it, where do you go about trading Alex Rodriguez? And this is going to be an issue if the Yankees are eliminated tomorrow afternoon, even if it goes 5, arguably, and they lose at the stadium, although if they can win tomorrow with Jared Wright and all hands are going to be on deck, you know, from that, and force a game 5 and even advance, you know right now, as we speak at least, that a number of Yankee fans and probably a number of decision makers and Yankee officials in the front office, including you-know-who leading the pack, the boss himself, where and how can we get rid of the lightning rod? Will it go to the Angels? But then who do the Angels give to the Yankees? Somebody here at the radio station came up with something kind of plausible. Would the Yankees, and we certainly know the Houston Astros are willing to spend some money, but chances are the Rocket will not be back. However, he retires and then unretires more than you've ever seen from Barbra Streisand, even with Sinatra, the whole thing already. Well, the bottom line is this. Could you send the lightning rod to Houston for Roy Oswalt? Now, that to me seems a little bit plausible, a little bit doable. But, of course, we are getting ahead of ourselves. But if you were to take a poll right now with any and all Yankee fans who already have some set of feelings and opinions about the lightning rod to begin with, do you think that they might offer a team or two and a possible trade possibility regarding the lightning rod, who is now in this series 1 for 11? And that's a lone little base hit he got in game number 1. You know about the 0 for 4 yesterday with the 3 strikeouts, including in the first inning with the bases loaded. And you know tonight about the 0 for 3. About the only good thing you can say about Alex Rodriguez tonight, he didn't strike out, he made contact. And that is little consolation for the lightning rod, who was put back into the number 4 hole. And the Yankees are finding it very, very rough in Detroit as we speak. All right, 11 o'clock. 20 seconds to you, and how you be at 11:06 and 40 seconds. Friday night on your fan, New York City, and Steve Summers here, and you there, Sal Licata, Greg Giannotti. They're on the other side of the glass, and 1-718-937-6666. That'll be the number for the 2-hour Friday schmooze, right up until Tony Page at 1 on your fan, New York. Ron Vallone trying to, it looks as though he is going to get out of this 2nd and 3rd and 2-out situation in the bottom of the 8th inning. And, yes, Vallone did fly out to Damon in center. And so, after 8 full innings, hard to believe, here's your story number 1, that Detroit has steamrolled over the Yankees tonight in Detroit After 8 innings, as you know, it's 6-0. And storyline number 2, and it really is story like 1 and 1A, Kenny Rogers. And apparently the Yankees caught trespassing in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, a neighborhood that Mr. Rogers himself has never been in, because if you take a look at the numbers from his postseason record, it is awful. I mean, we're talking about with the 96 Yankees, with the 99 Metropolitans, you know about with 2003, spending some time with the Minnesota Twins. His overall postseason record, from whether it's division, league championship, the World Series, the whole thing, 0-3 with an 8.85 ERA. And tonight, Kenny Rogers, 7 2/3 innings, no runs. Yes, you heard right. No runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 8, count 'em, 8 strikeouts, including the almost impossible to strike out Bobby Abreu, who swung and missed twice. Mr. On-base percentage. Nobody in Major League Baseball today sees as many pitches as Abreu, and he hardly ever strikes out. So storyline number 1, that the Yankees will hand the ball to Jared Wright, and of course anybody that can grip a baseball will be ready to go and try and throw it over the plate to get somebody out wearing a Detroit uniform. But Jared Wright, the entire season for the New York Yankees, is going to be with Jared Wright on the hill tomorrow against the Tiger team that has won a game at the stadium and is 3 outs away from taking a 2-1 lead in this incredible mega upset in the making series that is with 3 outs away now from Detroit winning it. And it is really just, the upset of upsets here, a mega upset, I guess is what you would have to say. And remember how, and who is going to forget, especially if you're a Yankee fan, how the Tigers ended the regular season. They lost 2 games to Toronto and all 3 at home to Kansas City. They came to their series with the Yankees at Yankee Stadium with having given up in their 7, 8, 9, 9, and 10 runs in that 5-game losing streak to close out the regular season. There isn't a person breathing, a person with a pulse who had Detroit winning a game, let alone being in position to close it out in Detroit tomorrow. And, of course, the lightning rod, I'm sure that, as I said earlier, as I touched on, alluded to earlier, if you were to take a poll of Yankee fans right now, to a man and woman, where can we deal away the lightning rod? It was 0 for 3 in this game. He was hit by a pitch, and you had to see how quickly he got out of the batter's box to get to first base just so he could remember what it felt like to get on. He has not hit the ball hard at all, and, of course, Torrey put him in the number 4 hole, put Bernie Williams number 8. Bernie came close earlier in the game to hitting a 2-run home run. It was had the distance. It was gone, but foul. Then he struck out. But Kenny Rogers here has been the master. Joel Zumaya came in to get Alex Rodriguez in the top of the 8th inning, and now it'll be up to Doug Jones to close it out and get his 2nd consecutive save. Just in an incredible story here in postseason baseball. The story, as we speak right now, with the Yankees on the verge of being down 2-1. Richie is calling from Staten Island. Richie, I know you've been waiting quite some time. Richie is thinking of Eric Mangini.
Well, Mr. Summers, I like that youthful exuberance in that guy from the Massapequa Rough Touch,
Yes.
Yeah, I could have used him when I was coaching the Jets back in '96.
Yeah, Frank gets a little carried away on occasion.
I'm telling you. Anyway, it's great to speak with you, Steve. Thank God you're on the radio, Mr. Summers. This is Coach Richie here. You know that, right?
Yeah, you're Rich Kotite, and of course, I don't want to bring up that you were 1-15 in '96, but I guess I just did.
Well, we did beat the Cardinals that year. It was a good game. You guys played hard. There's no lie.
And of course, I loved how you drafted like every tight end you could draft, imaginable and alive. And especially what was unfortunate for you, Richie, was Kyle Brady, who turned out to be pretty good elsewhere in Jacksonville.
Well, Steve, that guy Curtis Caesar, he didn't pan out like I thought he was going to. But speaking of Eric Mangini,
yes.
he's a tremendous coach. I think the Jets' future is in good hands with Mr. Mangini. He called me when I was up at Fresh Kills on Sunday. He gave me a ring for that fourth down call, and I did give him the go-ahead for that fourth down call. So don't blame the kid.
Yes, and nobody is blaming him at all because we thought it was a very aggressive move, a very anti-Herman Edwards move. Listen. If you can go for the onside kick in the second quarter, if you can go for it on 4th and 1, you can go for it on 4th and 2 after a long 8-minute drive, 16, 17 plays. Might as well go for it. And, of course, that was Rich Kotite. And, listen, Rich he's got a lot of time on his hands and calls the station frequently. And we suggest he call Eric Mangini in case Eric is looking for a tight ends coach because that's where Mr. Kotite had his most success. Peter is calling from Huntington. Peter, you're on the fan, and thank you for the call.
Schmooze, a fall night schmooze. How are you? What a beautiful thing. Matsui strikes out. We're done.
It's over. It is all over.
Schmooze, I have not felt this good since the Red Sox tied it in Game 3.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean when I say that watching postseason baseball can be the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
Schmooze, unbelievable. Pure elation.
Not only that the Tigers are up 2-1, but Kenny Rogers.
I'm on hold, and I wanted to make a point, and Joe Morgan chimes in on ESPN.
Okay.
About
go ahead.
Who's that guy who spoke about this being the best lineup ever? The whole deal.
All of us.
But my point is, that, these historians, they talk about sports. They throw it out there.
Well,
let it unfold. I mean, Kenny Rogers just beat the greatest lineup in the history of our game, of our pastime.
Exactly, as you drip with sarcasm.
And you know the beauty? When Zumaya came in, Rodriguez, you could just see it in his eyes, right, Lightning Rod?
Well, what do you think?
He stuck his bat out like he had a tennis racket. He just wanted to make contact, not to strike out.
Well,
it was beautiful.
Oh, no, I know. Oh, that's what, and he gets hit by the pitch, and how quickly did he make it to first base there, just so he can remember what it felt like to stand at first base. I think we have to look at the bright side, Pete. I think we have to look at the positive here. He did make contact tonight.
Yes, he did. He did. We got to cut the $25 million man a little slack. He did make contact.
Yes. Well, here's the interesting thing. I mean, the Yankees got arrested tonight. Or maybe another word you could say, they got ambushed tonight. They were caught trespassing. Yes, they were. In Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Talk about good numbers. A-Rod off Kenny Rogers is 10 for 19. So actually one at bat better than 500. And he has 5 home runs of the 10 hits. Now, that is unbelievable. Mayo one. Swung on and grounded over the mound to short. Guillen fields, throws to first in time to end the inning. Now Jeter finally gets in the batter's box. Rogers taking a lot of time. Cano off first pitch. Swung on, hit on the ground, a second double play ball. Go to short one, on to first double play. Now Rogers is set. It'll be a payoff. And he struck him out swinging one away. 2-2 pitch to Cano. He struck him out swinging 2 away.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. It's a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine?
Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball struck him out swinging one away. Jeter leads off first. And the fastball strike 3 outside corner 2 away.
Could you be mine?
And that is all for Kenny Rogers. He pitches the lefty. And I would figure A-Rod will see Joel Sumaya.
And he's going to get some ovation when Jim Leland finally gets to the mound. They're all on their feet here in Comerica.
Beautiful day. Together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Would you be mine? my neighbor.
Well, I'll tell you this. For the first time in 19 years, people in Detroit, Tigers fans, got to see the Tigers play a postseason game at home. And I would bet you $1 to a donut that a good many of them, somewhat cynical and somewhat sarcastic and dripping with all of that, probably thought, okay, here the Yankees are going to come in and blow Kenny Rogers away with his career 0-3 mark in the postseason, with his career 8.85 ERA in the postseason. And he was Sandy Koufax tonight as the Tigers beat the Yankees and take a 2-1 lead, and that final score 6-0. By the way, that little piece with Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, I'm as lucky as can be, as anybody would be working at this radio station, to be working with the talent of a Sal Licata and a Greg Giannotti, although most of the best production pieces are done by John Schmidt. Okay, 1-718-937-6666 in the Van, New York.
Hey, with home improvement still on the rise, consider
of Detroit, who probably right now, all of Detroit thinking that they were in a dream state, because not only did the Tigers win this 6-0, and you're talking about the Yankees haven't scored since Johnny Angel hit that 3-run home run. I think it was the 4th inning yesterday. So you're talking about, since 2000, $1 billion spent for right now, where the Yankees are 1 game away from their season ending, with Jared Wright putting this, putting it into the right hand, the baseball into the right hand of Jared Wright tomorrow in Detroit, to save their season. All right, before we take all of your telephone calls about this unbelievable story and the unbelievable effort from Kenny Rogers, who had never won in the postseason, has an 0-3 record in postseason play, and that's with the Mets, the Yankees, with the Twins, the ERA, 8.85, and he shuts down and shuts out the New York Yankees tonight. And we have Joe Torre, and then we'll get right back to your telephone calls, 1-718-937-6666. Here is Joe Torre talking about Kenny Rogers.
I mean, he pitched a hell of a game.
To Kenny Rogers, who goes 7 2/3 innings, 5 hits allowed, no runs. Again, no runs from a guy who has never won before in his career at the age of 41. Had never won before in postseason with the Yankees, the Mets, the Twins, 0-3 with the 8.85 ERA. Almost every Yankee to a man in his career had hit Kenny Rogers to the batting average tune of anywhere between 350 and 500. And yet he shut them down and shut them out. And George Steinbrenner may not be worried about the New York Mets. What did he say after Game 1? Not the way they played today. However, they won. Now, Mr. Steinbrenner, he must be just going nuts with his Yankees within 27 outs of being eliminated and having to put the ball into Jared Wright's hands. And, of course, all hands will be on deck, you know, from that. But what hands are we talking about here? The better bullpen we have seen and the better hitting we have seen so far comes from a team with a payroll a lot less than what it's costing Steinbrenner with these Yankees, who have yet to score since the Damon home run from yesterday, and I think that was the 4th inning. This is absolutely embarrassing and humiliating and basically inexcusable. The Yankees now trailing Detroit 2-1. We'll get right to your telephone calls after this.
Mets win! Mets win! Well, fans, it's that time of year again in New York. Baseball in October, and who better than Bubba Burger to start that tailgate off right? You see, Bubba Burgers come in 7 different varieties. You heard me, 7, including original sweet onion, Texas shape, reduced fat, jalapeno, the all-natural, and my personal favorite, certified Angus beef. And what's even...
Astros for Roy Oswalt. The Astros could use some offense. Certainly the Lightning Rod could use some peace of mind. Certainly the Yankees could use a pitcher whose arm isn't about to fall off, and he's a quality pitcher. Tonight, obviously, if you're a Yankee fan, you have to be livid, you have to be upset, you have to be angry, you have to be mad, you have to be disappointed, because Jared Wright and the entire season is on the line tomorrow for the Yankees, and they have to give the ball to Jared Wright. And don't think for a single second that Corey Lytle and everybody else who can throw the ball 60 feet 6 inches will be out there to try and save this season that is sinking very fast. The Yankees losing 6-0. By the way, Abreu and the Lightning Rod and the Sultan of Shot combined, your number 3, 4, and 5 hitters in this game, 0 for 10. And, of course, the Lightning Rod now in the 3 games, 1 for 11. And right to the phones we go. And Rob is calling from Lenox. And, Rob, you're on the Fan.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
What's happening, Rob? Thank you for taking the time. Go right ahead.
Well, I want to get some points across, and hopefully you'll comment on them after.
Okay.
All right, I've been a Yankee fan since 1972, and Mike Francesa said something very interesting last year after the Yankees lost to the Angels.
Mm-hmm.
He said, this is not a team. This is a collection of talent, and I completely agree with him. Why in the world did Joe Torre, the worst thing that ever happened to this team was Matsui and Sheffield coming back. Melky Cabrera was a great contributor to this team, but I don't think anybody could have hit Kenny Rogers tonight. Kenny Rogers was as good as I've ever seen him pitch, and the Yankees still have a shot tomorrow with Bonderman because the Yankees hit guys that throw hard. But ridiculous. How many guys are going to swing at curveballs? And now what? And isn't it no coincidence that Dave Dombrowski again is finding a way to beat the Yankees?
The rest of time, or the rest of what there is for the Yankees in this postseason, are going to echo very much your very well said comments. Kenny Rogers had a curve tonight that looked like Carlton or Field next year, and I'll bet you $1 to a donut the Yankees will be probably, maybe Cashman right now, on the phone. Is there anybody, even if we eat most of this contract, some of the contract, half of the contract, is there somebody out there who will take off our hands to get them out of New York, the lightning rod? And I think a lot of Yankee fans right now would be the first to call Mayflower before Brian Cashman can find a place to take his belongings with the Mayflower to some other place. 11:41. Even disgruntled and upset Yankee fans would have to acknowledge that for a 41-year-old guy who has never won a postseason game, we're talking Yankees, we're talking Mets, we're talking Twins, that this is quite an uplifting and inspirational human interest story, something we all can respond to. By the way, I've asked Sal Licata on the other side of the glass to find out just what it might cost. We're going to guess here that he lives in a McMansion, if not an outright mansion, but we're trying to figure out roughly what the neighborhood figure would be from Mayflower Movers for the lightning rod to be moved from New York across the country to either Southern California, say the Angels, possibly Houston. We're just trying to get an idea of what it may cost for, if not the Yankees or Yankee fans, but certainly the lightning rod himself, who's now 1 for 11 in this series, to move. And if we can find a good bargain, a good deal for the lightning rod, we will pass it along. And, of course, he wasn't alone in not getting anything done tonight. Nobody did anything with the RBIs. The Yankees just not hitting with runners in scoring position tonight. They got a heroic effort out of the single digit, who did work into the 6th inning. He went 5 2/3 innings, but again, he hadn't pitched in quite a while. He's 43 years of age with Johnson. You know about the epidural situation with the shot that he had to get. You could see that he was very, very stiff out there on the mound, that the mechanics probably were not 100% or anything close, and very flat fastball. And when he tried to throw the slider, there wasn't much of a slide to that. And the Tigers were making a lot of contact. The Yankees also looked very, very shaky in the field. A couple of misplays. Certainly the Rodriguez play over at third base with Ivan Rodriguez sliding in The safe was the call, although you could make an argument that maybe the tag was made by Rodriguez, on Rodriguez, as before the hand touched the bag to second base when the runner was picked off. So the Yankees with no offense, very shaky defense, and really, let's put it this way, not getting the kind of start they were hoping to get from the 43-year-old Randy Johnson, who was out-dueled, amazingly so. And I know how we overuse the unbelievable, but unbelievable it was. 41-year-old Kenny Rogers, winless in his career in the postseason, 0-3 with an 8.85 ERA, with a curveball, as you may have seen it, that was dropping off the end of the table. And, of course, from a pitching point of view, from a Kenny Rogers point of view, if you can get Bobby Abreu to strike out twice swinging, you know you are on your game. And if you...
What are we going to do with A-Rod? That's what I want to know.
My guess is in the offseason, they will try to move him. Again, he's got a no-trade clause, and my guess would be that even if there's going to be even more of a financial inducement, I think he would waive the no-trade clause because I think he would be happier someplace else.
He has to get out of here because he's doing nothing for us. Nothing.
Well, Francesca did mention it. Another caller alluded to this earlier, and thank you, Pasquale. No, he hasn't done a thing. And everybody knows it. It's not any kind of a surprise. And listen, it's not working for him here. And whether it's the spotlight, the largesse of New York, the team that he's on, Derek Jeter, the weight of his contract, the media in New York, Yankee fans with the booing, whatever it is, probably all of the above, and his own insecurities, the bottom line is he would probably feel better about himself elsewhere. And certainly Yankee fans would say the same thing. They would feel better about themselves if he was elsewhere as well. Again, the Yankees could always assume a large portion of the money. Money would never be the issue. It would be getting another team to take him and what you would be able to get back for the so-called best player in the game, who has just not gotten the job done when it counts. He's now 1 for 11 in this series. The only good thing you could say about the lightning round from tonight and the 3 games in this series, well, certainly he made contact tonight. But as far as getting anything done, he's 1 for 11 pressing. And as he grips that bat, you could almost see the sawdust falling to the dirt below. Steve calling from Wappingers as well. Steve.
Schmoozes.
How are you, Steve-O?
Schmoozes, I must say. I am a huge fan of yours. I love your show, but right now I am a very depressed Yankee fan.
Well, I understand.
The feeling I have right now is a really upsetting feeling, kind of the same feeling I had in 2004 when the Yankees got killed by the Red Sox in the last 4 games. But I feel right now, and I'm wondering if you'll agree with me on this one, that the Yankees will not win tomorrow night, and they will not win a title for a very long time.
Well, if they do win tomorrow, then obviously you have your game. 3-run home run in what? The 4th inning from yesterday. The Yankees, if you can believe this, held scoreless. If you can believe this, the Tigers win it 6-0. If you can believe this, 7 2/3 shutout innings from Kenny Rogers. And I'm not making this up. 12:01 is the time on this Saturday morning now on your fan New York. Motown. 4 times. Hit it. Yeah. I'm Harry Harrison. I'm Dan Ingram. I'm Kenny Rogers, feeling on top of the world as the Yankees get caught trespassing in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, which now would include probably a good portion of America, let alone Detroit, or that portion of America, and even New York. That may not be, how you say in the trade, rooting for the New York Yankees. And what a story tonight. Not only do the Tigers put the Yankees a game away from their season ending, they do so with a guy who has been an absolute disaster in the postseason in his career. For 41-year-old Kenny Rogers, who had lost 7 consecutive decisions to the Yankees, he wins for the first time in his career a postseason game. And every Yankee to a man was hitting somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 to 500 in their career against Mr. Meltdown. Every Yankee fan knows from Kenny Rogers, every Metropolitan fan, Minnesota Twin fan, he had yet to win a postseason game. The ERA about 8.80. And here is Kenny Rogers tonight, 7 2/3 innings and 5 hits allowed with a curveball dropping off the end of the table. I'm telling you something, he was Sandy Koufax tonight. And the Yankees could do nothing. I said earlier, and Richie from Albertson, who I respect and love, correcting me that, wait a second, Bobby Abreu does strike out a lot. He does take so many pitches. Usually it's going to be a called strike 3. But you saw Abreu strike out a couple of times, having no clue at the plate. Of course, the lightning rod was 0 for 3, now 1 for 11. And the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in that Yankee lineup tonight, a combined 0 for 10. And Kenny Rogers pitching a shutout and shutting down the Yankees, a major story unto itself. And now it's up to Jared Wright tomorrow, Sunday, Saturday, today, in an elimination game. The entire season for the New York Yankees is now on the line, 27 outs away, and it'll be Jared Wright and all hands on deck. Whoever has a pulse and whoever can take that baseball and reach 60 feet and 6 inches to help the Yankees get to a Game 5 Sunday back at the stadium. And it's hard to believe that this is a Detroit Tiger team within 1 win away from eliminating the Yankees and getting on to the American League Championship Series against those Oakland Anabolics. Here is a Detroit team that in its last 5 regular season games spit the bit, losing at home twice to Toronto, 3 times to the Kansas City Royals, including last Friday night blowing a 5-2 lead, and then losing in extra innings, and then blowing a 6-0 lead last Sunday. But they didn't blow a 6-0 lead just a little while ago at Comerica Park, beating the Yankees and beating the single digit who got into the 6th inning and allowed 8 hits and 5 runs. And so maybe you can say a courageous effort on the part of the single digit, but at 43 with the bad back, with missing his last regular season start, he imploded. Really, I mean, that's the bottom line. He didn't do what he was supposed to do, what they wanted him to do, what they needed him to do, and in shades of Game 3 against the Angels last October. So Randy Johnson, first of all, they should figure out that if the Yankees do get themselves going into the next round, that they do not pitch Johnson in Game 3. But the bottom line is just incredible. You had Jeter hitting into a double play. The Yankees very shaky in the field. Cano at second base. The Sultan of Shot over there at first base. And not getting the pitching. Absolutely no hitting whatsoever. And you can imagine how livid the boss and Yankee diehards are right now. On the ledge is the New York Yankees, expected to win it all with Murderers Row, 1 game away from their season coming to an end. Will is calling from Hoboken, and Will, you're on the fan.
Hi, Captain Midnight. How are you?
Well, how you doing, Will? What's happening?
Well, long-time Yankee fan, and I'm a little right now. Nice game, but gotta move on. Think about tomorrow, and think. What do you think Joe's going to do with the lineup tomorrow night? Try to straighten the ship up here.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm really not sure. I think you're going to see. I don't think you'll see Bernie Williams in the lineup. I think they'll go back to Sheffield.
Okay.
You're not going to see Melky Cabrera. I think you're basically going to see the same assembled cast. Whether Torrey continues to use the lightning rod in the number 4 hole remains to be seen. I don't think it matters where they put him in the lineup.
Okay, fair enough. And just a quick shout out. what do you call it? I just hope that our friend Doris from Rego Park is looking out from Bob and enjoying the run the Mets are having in the postseason. I thank you for taking my call, Steve.
Well, you bet, Will. Thanks for making it, and nice touch on your part. And I hope upstairs she's listening to Bob Murphy, letting all Met fans upstairs know about what's going on. Howard is calling from Midland Park, New Jersey. Howard, you're on.
Steve, my honorary paisan.
How are you? I'm flattered by that, Peter. Thank you for that.
Well, I'm calling for one reason and one reason only.
Yes, sir.
As a Yankee fan, I'm here to pay my dues, to eat my crow. Go ahead and stab my heart with your verbal daggers, Steve. I got it coming to me. Give it to me.
Well, I'm not going to do that because, first of all, I think we need to take a moment and express how happy we all feel for a great, and all of us respond in an inspirational way to great human interest stories like Kenny Rogers. Here is a guy you have to feel good about. He's 41 and hadn't won a postseason game, had lost 7 consecutive decisions to the New York Yankees. I think we can all feel good about what he did tonight.
No Captain Cologne, no supermodels, nothing of that.
Yeah, no.
Listen,
the captain. Go
I
ahead.
made the joke about Pedro crying in the dugout. I deserve a little something. I'm gonna. You always talk about the Yankee fans don't call when they lose. I'm manning up to you tonight, Steve.
Well, listen, Pedro emotionally not ready to pitch and also physically not able to pitch. The good news, listen, we know about with the tears already and with the emotion and the whole thing and listen. But the bottom line is that what the Mets have, and of course, at the moment, I'm not so sure the Yankees have all their wherewithal. But certainly what the Metropolitans have are a couple of starting pitchers who have good calves. And this is a very good thing because forget about the arm and their makeup and their mechanics and their repertoire. And whether they're a lefty or a righty, they have pitchers now who have good calves. You don't ask for much now in this day and age with the New York Mets. You ask that their pitchers have solid, healthy calves and go from there. All right, 1-718-937-6666. Let's take a moment and just think how wonderful the human interest story that Kenny Rogers is. I think even the most upset and disappointed Yankee fan can understand it's a good thing. It's a good story. Okay, 12:22 is the time, and time for a 22. And hard to believe it is. Not that Detroit won the game. That's possible. 6-0 is somewhat surprising, a shutout. But Kenny Rogers pitching it. Let us go to Bob, and Bob is calling from Levittown. Bob, you're on the fan, and thanks for the call.
How you doing, Steve? How are you?
Bob. Pretty good. How about yourself?
Okay, good. I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions. Okay. Kenny Rogers pitched a brilliant game, number one. He had the Yankees batters rhythm off a whole game compared to the batters that dominated him.
Right.
Kenny Rogers in his past, which Kenny Rogers did a great job holding off the Yankee batters. Number 3, I don't think Alex Rodriguez will be traded, in my opinion, really. Not with his no trade clause of his contract.
He cannot be happy where he is, no matter what he says. And the bottom line is, listen, he's not getting a job. He's not getting it done here where you need to get it done here, and that's October.
Well,
go ahead.
The best team does not manufacture runs. I mean, compared to the regular season, compared to postseason.
No, the
last 3 years.
Yeah, the whole makeup of the team needs to be overhauled. That's what we were talking about before with a couple of other callers who are making some great points. You can't. You listen. Even though it's the American League and with the scoring and the DH and all the hitting with the 300 batting averages and the All-Stars and the murderer's row, you have to have a complete approach to winning baseball games, and that includes a lot of things the Yankees don't even think about or do.
Well, I'm going to ask you, do you think the Mets are going to go all the way against Oakland that dominated Minnesota, sweeping them, which I never thought would happen?
I'll qualify anything because personally, professionally, however you want to slice it up, I don't take anything for granted, but I feel very good about the Mets not only getting to where they want to go,
right,
and winning it.
One last thing. I think the wild card that did the Marlins against the Cleveland Indians, and they did the 2003 against the Yankees, and the Angels did against San Francisco in 2002 could happen again. You never know.
Of course. I mean, all of us think we know what we're talking about, and who does? Especially me already. And I can't pick my nose, as they say in the trade, let alone what's going to happen with the World Series. You have your hopes, and you have that, but who knows? What you can expect is the unexpected. And it's funny, because as I was watching Oakland and Minnesota, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what's going on here with the Oakland A's? Maybe they're going to do something of all the teams in the postseason. Was I guess maybe one notch above Detroit was Oakland as a team that you would be thinking about winning a world championship. You just don't know. We have plenty of examples with wild cards, with first-round upsets. And we are on the verge of one of the biggest first-round upsets imaginable. Norman is calling from Brooklyn, New York. Norman.
Stephen, how are you?
I'm good, Norman. How about yourself?
I'm fine. You should be feeling really good.
I am.
The Mets are doing a superb job.
Oh, to die for. What?
And you know, the speed makes that other team very, very nervous.
Oh, you think?
Yes, so that's...
And how awful are the Dodgers anyway with Kenny Lofton, with and Grady Little? Listen,
Stephen, they're not that bad. We're going to get hopefully a pocket full of miracles in this playoff. Which we
hold on, hold on, Norman. Let me write that
one
down.
Already.
Let me write that down.
Yeah.
Pocket. This goes with Fran's.
Well, that's how we always win, with a pocket full of miracles.
Pocket full.
Just like Buckner.
Miracles. And I also
and now it's the catcher getting a double play.
How great was that?
Well, there's the pocket full of miracles, and everything that Willie's doing.
I like that expression.
Everything that Willie's doing is going to turn out all right. And I did criticize him last year, and I'll praise him this year. He really stepped up, just like the ball players did. And for the first time, we had Reyes blossom, and Wright continued to do what he wanted to do, and they put a terrific team together.
It's like Norman is becoming like Mr. Positive.
Well, I am, because I told you I liked that team from the beginning.
Yeah,
and I just want to say one thing to the Yankee fans. Don't knock your team. They're not out of it, and you have a very, very dangerous team.
What a nice thing for you to say.
Well, it's the truth. I won a Subway Series, Steve.
And thanks, Norman. You're trying to provide a little hope and encouragement, and aren't we all, for the Yankee fan who right now is feeling a little bit blue. By the way, pocket full of miracles. I like that. But I almost had how you say, with the tears in the eyes when Fran from Massapequa called. And it was so... I can't even think of the word already. My vocabulary, watch, as if you didn't know, limited. But I can't even think of how emotional it made me when Fran from Massapequa called, like an hour and a half ago, whenever it was, to say, with the Yankees and Detroit, how we all expected the Yankees to make this a clean 3-game sweep, and now it's 2-1 Detroit. And Fran said something that I want to remember for the rest of my life. I wrote it down. I'm trying to find it here in my notes, and here it is. That's why they play the games. And Fred does that all the time, coming up with something original and creative and novel and potent and cogent as well. Something, I think we can all live with this and live by it as well as something motivational and inspirational. That's why they play the games. Okay. 1-718-937-6666 is the number to call. And we'll take a little bit of a break. Or is Rick just waving to me, wanting to say hi? No, he wanted to say hi, too. Okay. Hi, Rick. How you doing? Shall I take another call? Now he's like pointing to the door, which is where I'm going to be out of, if we don't take that break now.
Are you having trouble paying your credit card bills? You didn't expect to get so deep in debt, but...
Okay, 12:37 and 50 seconds on a Saturday morning on your fan, New York City. I love the instant access to the computer with the email. Glenn from West Babylon. Would the Metropolitans trade David Wright or Jose Reyes for Mr. October? Of course. Maybe both. Why not? Who wouldn't want the best player in the game? From now on, Glenn, before we either take your call or even read anything that you send us with the instant access, we are going to be taking a urine sample, and you're going to be tested for drugs. What kind of an email is this? Now that I think of it, I don't want to get too emotional. How about that, though, if the Mets were to... First of all, one thing we know about Jose Reyes and David Wright at the age of 23, they can play in New York. This is something the lightning rod cannot do. We are going to find out how much, say, a 5-bedroom house, and, of course, we don't know from square footage with where A-Rod lives, but we've got to figure... that we're going to talk from 5 bedrooms and maybe a few more and a big house, and maybe we'll put together like 5 to 10,000 square feet worth of furniture and see how much it would cost Mayflower to move him. And I will bet you the Yankees wouldn't even have to pay for the move. All you have to do is get the donation and the pledge from Yankee fans. And maybe he goes to the Angels. How about trading him away, although the Astros did sign long-term now Roy Oswalt. But you can imagine that maybe they would trade him after it's a sign-and-trade like the NBA. What? And then maybe Houston would have more than with Ensberg and with Lance Berkman with offense, and they would have A-Rod in Houston, and maybe he would flourish there. They could use the offense. Would they sacrifice Roy Oswalt? Probably not. Not in their right minds, anyway. And then, of course, we know that they could pay. Even if the Yankees were to eat a good portion of his contract, you know that with the Rocket Man, what the Astros were paying this year, prorated, and the $18 million they gave him last year. So the bottom line is, who knows? You never know what's going to happen. But you start thinking, where might the lightning rod go? First of all, he has to waive the no trade, and I think he would. Whether it would mean you got to throw some money at him or not, I think he would, because he's not happy here and nobody's happy with him. He'd have a lot more fun playing baseball, and people would have a lot more fun watching him play baseball than what has transpired here in his short career as a member of the New York Yankees. Simply said, it ain't working. 12:40 and 48 seconds on a Saturday morning in time for the 12:40-2020. Harris Allen. But the bottom line is they're dancing in the streets, Martha and the Vandello style, in Detroit as the Tigers within a game of eliminating the New York Yankees. And Kenny Rogers, of all people, he with the 0-3 lifetime mark in the postseason, he at the age of 41, he with the postseason ERA of 8.85, looking like Sandy Koufax with a curve falling off the end of the table, with 8 strikeouts and 5 hits allowed, and shutting down and shutting out the New York Yankees in 7 2/3 innings of probably, arguably, the best game he has ever thrown in his life. Bruce is calling from Bayside. Bruce.
That's a pretty interesting statement, Steve, considering he has a perfect game.
Well, I think this game more important, and
sure.
and if you take him for what I understand that, but he's never won in the postseason. He has been taking abuse from not only Met fans, and deservedly so, and Yankee fans, and deservedly so. This is in the postseason where he puts Detroit on the verge of going to the World Series, their first postseason home game in 19 years. He said after the game, and it looked as though he was about to lose it, and he was seemingly about to break down with the tears of joy and saying this game meant more to him than anything, and I believe him.
This is a game of redemption, that's for sure. You know, Norman got me going over here with that pocket full of miracles.
Yes.
But, you know, it's another one of those cinematic references.
But it's what Fran said.
Well, no, I don't want to bother with the massive sequel contingent. It's just, you know, I'm too happy for that tonight. But anyway, Bruce
wanting to get off of that subject.
Well, I do. You know, you know, the next time we're going to play is going to be Neil Diamond, except, you know, they come to Comerica, you know, instead of America. Well, we'll have that. But I was getting back to that thing I pocket full of miracles. Do you remember who played Apple Annie in that movie?
I have to think.
Famous actress.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're right, Bruce.
Betty Davis.
Yeah. What about What Became of the Broken Hearted?
Oh, that's a wonderful song.
Rocco from Manhattan, thanks for that one. He just sent that one along. What Became of the Broken Hearted?
And we can say that for Kenny Rogers. he knew not to fold.
Yeah, well, there you go. As we come up with every cliche we can think of.
Yeah, and one final thing, Steve. Somebody came up with this. When the Yankees win the first game of an ALDS, they're in trouble. They did against the Angels in 2002.
Yeah, you're right.
And
here's Randy Johnson in another Game 3 meltdown.
He didn't do that badly. I mean, they just weren't going to do anything. When Bernie's ball went foul, that was the ball game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, if they would have got the 3-2, it would have been interesting. Although, of course, that's open for
it didn't seem like it was fouled by very much, a couple of feet.
Yeah, it hit the pole. Unfortunately, it was the pole supporting the fair ball.
All right, what do you think is going to happen to the lightning rod?
Oh, goodness knows. I mean, he shouldn't get all the blame for crying out loud because, they haven't gotten contributions from anybody with men on base. And so, but he's going to hear it, obviously, because of the salary and then those statements again.
Yeah.
It was a bad fit to begin with. And now everybody's longing for Scott Roaches and Charlie Hayes. It is just amazing over here that this can happen. I'm worried about what's going to happen to Steinbrenner.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No.
The last hurrah.
Yep. Well, the fallout from this, I can see Mike and the dog Monday at 1 with one missive coming in after another if the Yankees lose later on today. They've got to get back to a Game 5 at the stadium, and to think that this series was even going to go 5. I mean, most of baseball America, Bruce, I'm sure, were you one of those people as well that thought this would be a 3-game sweep?
I thought the Yankees in 4. I did.
You did?
There was a thing in on the papers that had the matchup position by position,
Mm-hmm.
and they had the checklist. It gave it. They had also had the managers, the bench, the bullpen, everything. It gave the Yankees 9 checks and 3 ties, and then but the prediction was Yankees in 5.
Yeah.
So if you have the Yankees winning in 9 positions, the only ties were like the manager and catcher. They had Posada and Bud even.
Yeah.
You would think how can they have the Yankees with such domination and all throughout, and then you figure they're still going to lose the game.
Joel Zumaya comes into this game to get 1 out. And got the lightning rod.
Well, you can't blame it on the shadows this time.
No, of course not. Thanks, Bruce, for the call. Keep in touch as always. The major contributor that Bruce from Bayside is. 12:52, 5 seconds. We'll be back to take what remaining calls we have right after this.
Have Viagra or similar products let you down? Well, now, there's new hope for men who suffer from erectile dysfunction. If you want proven results, the Boston Medical Group has the answer.
I've tried everything from herbal supplements to Viagra and Cialis, and nothing worked. So I called the Boston Medical Group. Their treatment worked.
Regardless of your age or medical condition, the Boston Medical Group can prescribe a personalized treatment that is proven to work safely and effectively.
Thanks to the Boston Medical Group, I'm back to my old self again.
If you have problems achieving or maintaining sexual performance and other treatments have failed, the Boston Medical Group has the answer. And with private waiting rooms, your confidentiality is assured. Call 800-337-7555 for a clinic near you. That's 800-337-7555. Call today. Perform tonight. 800-337-7555. Or visit bostonmedicalgroup.com. Proven results is defined as the ability to achieve and maintain sexual performance for 30 minutes. Results may vary.
You want to stop. You may have even tried to stop several times. When it comes to an addiction, be it OxyContin, Vicodin, Percocet, methadone, or heroin, you know that getting clean can be one of the hardest things you'll ever go through.
A little later today, and then like 6 to 7:30 or whatever it is before the Metropolitan game, actually because of Notre Dame football and because of Ed Randall talking baseball and because of the Mets tomorrow or later on this evening, I have both today and Sunday off, a rare 2 days in a row off, because it usually is sometimes Saturday I'm going to work the 6th day. So I could hear like the audience applauding. I'm going to be off for a couple of days. How happy is everybody listening? And then I'll, after the Monday Night Football game or whatever, listen, if there's a Game 5 with the Metropolitans, which I do not expect whatsoever, but Monday night after the football, we'll have a chance to talk about the Mets eliminating Hollywood. In the meantime, Barry Gordy, also from Detroit with the Instant Access. Thank you, Barry. He says it's not a pocket full of miracles, but a pocket full of Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. One of my favorite songs of all time, Shop Around. Ed is calling from New Rochelle. And Ed, you're on the vent, and thank you for the call.
Steve, thanks for taking my call.
Oh, you bet, Ed. Thank you for taking the time. Go ahead.
All right, first-time caller calling up. about the game tonight.
Okay.
I'm not worried. I'm only 18, so I haven't been around a long time. But I've seen the Yankees with their back against the wall before and come back. 2001 against the A's, they were down. They lost, I think, the first 2 games at home, and then they came back and won the series. So
not 2001.
Oh, in the division series.
Yeah, yeah, right, of course. Okay, all right. What you're saying, and thanks, and I feel bad about cutting you a little bit short because I want to get these people on who probably feel like they've been waiting too long to begin with. So let me take them. But Ed, you listen. You're a good fan. You're not giving up. Mike is calling from Center Reach, and Michael, you're on the fan, and thanks for the call.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Michael. Go right ahead.
Well, I'm a Mets fan, and what happened to Kenny Rogers, but that was the best game I ever seen him pitch in his life, man.
Yes, and even though it's Bruce, and thank you a lot, Mike, and even though Bruce pointed out he had a no-hitter, I mean, I think this is certainly the most important game that he has pitched in his entire career, and said so in so many words after the game. Teddy from Manhattan. Teddy, you're on the van, and thank you for the call.
Yeah, how you doing? First time caller.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Teddy.
Yes, I'm a big Yankee fan. I still think they're going to make it through, but why didn't Torrey put Shelton in the
I think down 6-0 in the 9th inning. What are you going to put him in for? What? But he'll probably be in the lineup later today. Vinny is calling from Portchester. Vinny.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for. I'll try to make it fast.
Yeah, that's okay, Vinny.
I'm a Mets fan, but and I don't want to make this a Yankee Met thing because I particularly am not part of that group that likes to see the Yankees lose only, when they play the Mets.
It takes all types. Go ahead.
But a lot of the callers and even yourself made a lot of good points about the makeup of the Yankees, and I've been watching a lot of the games, and I noticed one thing. The Yankees, they look like they play because they have to win versus they want to win.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking.
And there's such a lack of animation. I think the problem is bigger than people realize. I think the problem starts from the top. Right away, Mr. Steinbrenner, oh, my God, we're going to lose. What's going to happen to the boss?
Yeah, I understand where you're going, and you do make a point. I mean, you look at Jose Reyes, you could see the joy of playing baseball, and you look at everybody else and with the corporate look. Philosophically, that is part of the makeup of both the Mets, the people's team, as opposed to the Republicans in the Bronx already. The very corporate, like rooting for U.S. Steel. Thank you all for listening and calling the whole thing. Rick, thanks a lot. Harris coming up, and then Tony Page in a few minutes on the Fan New York.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan. WFAN.
Listen to Mets postseason baseball with Howie Rose, Tom McCarthy, and Gary Cohen here on your flagship station for Imus in the morning, Mike and the Mad Dog in the afternoon, and New York Mets baseball. The Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York. WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good morning at 1 o'clock. I'm Harris Allen.
The 3-1.
A high drive to right. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. Curtis Granderson hit one way back in the right field seats. Probably 10 or 12 rows back. A long home run for Grander. Tigers have a 6-0 lead.